Book besties, welcome back. If you are new here, just know that I have recently read Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. It was my first fantasy series that I literally followed front to back. I had once tried the ACOTAR series. No, I always say that. I always say this was the first one. I technically did the Bonsai Tie, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Right now, we are talking about the fact that I have finally finished Onyx Storm. It has been a couple of days now, and I feel ready to talk about this. We do a book club, so the After Dark Book Club, and every single month we pick a theme of the month, and February was Fantasy February. So we started off with Fourth Wing, we read Iron Flame, and a lot of us finished Onyx Storm. I was probably the last one to actually finally finish it. We met a couple days ago to talk over like some theories we had and just some thoughts about the book, but I am ready to talk openly about my feelings of Onyx Storm. Okay, to start off, I was warned that the aftermath of Onyx Storm was gonna hurt. Like, that this book would not destroy me, but in fact, I would want to destroy this book. And that was like nothing else said was more truer than that. I very rarely read books with a cliffhanger. So I prefer to start the series when the series is complete. I knew going into Fourth Wing though that the series was not complete, but I had FOMO. Everybody was talking about Onyx Storm at the end of January, how good it was or their feelings on it, and I just felt like, what the heck? I want to be a part of this world. So I picked up Fourth Wing and absolutely loved it. I devoured it. It became my entire personality. My husband and I got a inflatable dragon costume. We made skits. In fact, I almost never read Fourth Wing because my really good friend had read Iron Flame and said that Fourth Wing was really good, but then it kind of died down in Iron Flame, and then she just never really finished it. And so I was like, well, then I don't want to read it. But then I read it, and I did enjoy Iron Flame, but I got what she was saying. Like, you go from Fourth Wing being like, she's new to the quadrant, like everything is like pop, pop, pop. You have all this tension with Xaden, like, I don't know. And then you get to Iron Flame, it's like turns into more political. Like, you have a revolution, like you're building up a much different like stance that Violet's in versus like she's just trying to survive in the first one, and like she's just trying to like figure out her way. And now she goes from being like almost this like weak girl that's doing her best to like someone in power finding her strength in the second book, which is wonderful to see. But it is longer, it is different. There's a lot of, hey, I like you, hey, I don't like you, like I trust you, I don't trust you in Iron Flame, versus in Fourth Wing it's more just like, hey. Okay, well that was awkward. My camera just shut off because I had no more memory, so I don't remember what I was saying. But anyway, long story short, the difference between Fourth Wing and Iron Flame is fair. Like, if you kind of really like Fourth Wing, it's a little slower in Iron Flame, but it is building the world deeper. Like, I feel like if you kept going on the path that Fourth Wing was going, you would have, like, Rebecca would have run out of things to talk about, if that makes sense. Like, so she had to build the deeper world. So I still enjoyed Iron Flame. It is very long.
That's what she said.
But I was very excited to start Onyx Storm. And I did love this book. Like, I loved it. I already talked about this in part one, but I loved it a lot because A, we see Andarna is not missing for most of it. In Iron Flame, she's missing for like the first half, and that was just, that sucked. Like, I loved her banter, I loved her sass, I loved when she came back and like her and Taryn, their relationship. So I miss seeing her in Iron Flame. I love that she had more of a presence in Onyx Storm. I love that we have a better answer of who Andarna is and trying to find her family. And like, I love the fact that she has such a bigger purpose than just being this tiny golden dragon. I love the fact that we got more Riddick in this book as well. Like, I love the fact that he was able to stand up and be like, hey, I understand I'm funny, like I'm the funny guy in the group, but I'm here to fight too. I can be with Violet, like I want her to be safe. let me go with you, Violet. And I love the fact that she listened to him and heard him. But I also love that we still got funny Riddick. Like, I would hate to see him lose his personality. I would hate to see anything happen to him. I know that when I talked with book club, they were saying that Rebecca did an interview saying that we're going to lose somebody we love in book 4. And all I have to say is if something happens to Taryn or Riddick, I will stop reading this series.
Done.
I say that right now. I'm saying 10 toes in that those two are my hard triggers. Like, I hope nothing ever happens to either of them. Obviously, I hope nothing happens to Andarna either, but I think she has way bigger of a purpose. Like, there's no way. I love the fact that we got to see more characters. However, I did struggle knowing who was who, which I heard a lot of people talking about, like, a lot of characters are introduced in this book without actually being introduced. We're just dropping names and you're like,
Who the hell is this guy?
the theory is, like, you're reading this as Violet, and in Iron Flame, Violet refused to learn a lot of the first year's names because she did not want to get to attach to them. So we're reading it from her point of view that finally she has their names. I feel like maybe that could have been, like, decoded in the book better, like, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I thought that since I read the books back to back to back, I would know who all these people were, and I did struggle. And I immersive read it, so, like, I was listening to it, but I was also reading the book, and I thought, like, I'd have a really strong handle on it, and I did get lost. I feel like we're constantly being thrown different characters, like, and I feel like you have to be because Rebecca just kills so many of them. But I don't know, it's getting to a point where it's getting hard to keep up with who's who. Then you start to throw in their dragons' names. Then you start to throw in the griffins' names. And I feel like I need a cheat sheet. Like, it's getting difficult with that. I did love a lot of characters that were introduced this time around. I love the old lady. Don't tell me, I don't know, sorry with an N. But Violet had to go get her books that her dad left somewhere. And they show up and the daughter of the shop is like, Papa, get them. And, like, somebody tries to, like, get Zayden or whatever the case may be. And Violet throws her dagger like she does. And Zayden's like, I told you not to do this. And then the old lady comes down and she's like 92. And she looks between Zayden and Dane and is like,
Wow.
you guys, she, like, essentially hits on him, like, oh, hey, like, they make him good in the continent or something like that. And her daughter's like, Mom, and she's like, what? I'm 92, I'm not dead. Like, I can still see they're attractive. And then she thinks that Zayden is Dane, and she's like, Violet, your dad knew that you would be in love with him. He is such a good looker. You must be Dane. And Zayden's like, what the fuck? I thought that was so funny. I love her. Absolutely hate Zayden's mom. Like, it was interesting to meet her. I think there's going to be a lot more, obviously, with her. I think there's going to be more with the kids. I think there's obviously a lot more with her new husband. But I don't know what it's going to be. Everybody has their own theories. I'm not that great at, like, formulating theories because, again, I'm so new to fantasy. But we did have a really good discussion in book club. I was told that apparently on the cover of these books, it's almost like they're moving. They were saying, like, the dots move along. I wonder, let me go get my Fourth Wing book. Hold on. I had Fourth Wing here the whole time. I just made a TikTok with it. Okay, they were saying that colors matter. So, oh shoot. Okay, so, like, maybe this is what they mean. Like, there's a dot here, and then by the time it's on Onyx Storm, the dot has moved. They're saying that they're, like, traveling, like, almost it's a map, and we have these runes. I still don't know what a rune is. I'm still struggling like Violet. That's another theory, that, like, we struggle with runes because Violet does.
What the hell is even that?
But as far as the ending of the book, I hated this cliffhanger. Like, I hated it because you get to the end and, like, you have no idea you're at the end. I read it on my Kindle. I listened to it as an audiobook, so I was not in the book. And, like, you turn the page and it's like, I did what you told me to. acknowledgments. And it's like,
What the hell?
and then we're not supposed to get the next book for another 2 years. And I'm like, what do we do now? Like, I don't know. I've never had a series just like rip me like into it so bad and then just end. It's just over and we have no freaking answers. Like, we were talking that like we think that Xaden put a piece of himself like as a rune in the ring that she has, like saying that he's a dark wielder now, so he like doesn't have a soul, but maybe he put the last piece of his soul like in there. And so when he said like, you don't look for me, you like, she's yours now, it's like his piece of himself. Everyone was talking about like who they think the brother is. I thought it was Garrett. Like, I thought that's who it was because Garrett goes missing. But some people are saying it's Bodhi because Bodhi's his cousin. It's the closest thing he has to a brother. Other people are saying like they think it's Liam because Liam was his brother. They grew up together. But then somebody's like, no, in a interview, she said like Liam will never come back, which I don't believe anything Rebecca says in an interview. Are you kidding me? Like, she would lie straight to our face. But with Liam, I noticed everybody was saying like, if you do not personally see that person pass and like buried, there's a good possibility like they're not dead. And I remember specifically when we read Liam's chapter, like read Fourth Wing and we lost Liam, they were talking about how she like kind of passes out like right after, and then they say something like, oh, someone else like burned his things and him, like, or however they get rid of it. And I was like, I don't know, we like never saw that. We as the reader didn't see Liam gone. So the theories about Liam still being here, like, I believe them. Like, sure, I honestly believe all theories. So I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, and you fight about it in the comments. I'm all for it. But as far as this series goes, this has been one of the first times I've ever finished a book or a book series, and I just immediately want to restart it. Like, I feel like I already miss it so much. When I reread these, I'm going to try the graphic audio because I heard great things about the graphic audio, but they're missing some pieces of the book. Like, they kind of cut some stuff out, so I knew not to do it as a first time read or as an immersive read. I felt like that was just a lot. So when I do it again, I cannot wait to do it as a graphic audio. But it was a good time all around. It's been a really good time. I was telling book club yesterday when we had a meetup, because we are now in Mafia March, and we did our first Mafia read, which is Ruthless Creatures. JT something, I'm forgetting the last name, it starts with a G, but I listened to the audiobook for that too, and that's a great audiobook if you want to listen to that. The narrator's really good, they do a really great Russian accent, stuff like that, but the book is good, but the love is like insta love. Like, he's in the mafia, and then all of a sudden he's like he's sent there to like look for her or something like that, and like she's like, hey, you're my new neighbor, do you mind like giving me a ride home? Like, me and my friend had a lot to drink. He's like, no, I want nothing to do with you. And then it's like the next day he's like, I'm in love with you. And I'm like, wow, I wanted a little bit more like tension like in that book, but the book was still really good. However, as someone who just read like an entire month of fantasy, even books outside of fantasy that I read like had no spice, had a lot of tension, I have realized like right now I'm totally into the slow burn, which is so odd for me because that's never been my thing. But like the yearning, the slow burn, like I want to like feel your soul like move from like hating this person to loving this person, or just like being indifferent to this person to now being like absolutely infatuated, and so much more than like, I find you hot, so like let's get married. Like, I want it to be like earth-shattering love. Like, that's what I want to feel. There's like a new song that came out this February called Ordinary by Alex Warren, I believe, and everyone was saying that was Xaden's song like in these books. And like there is even a part in Onyx Storm that he says something specifically that like lined almost perfectly with the song, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely like their song to each other. And so like you go from like feeling a love like that and a plot like this to something that's just like, hey baby, let me put it somewhere, and you're like, where's the urinate? So I think there's obviously still like, I'm still just after dark. I still love my dark romance, but I think that I had to like recalibrate my brain to be like, okay, this is what we're in now, and we're looking at things differently. But I will be adding more fantasy into my mix. I actually just got recommended Heavenly Bodies by one of my friends. She said that is fantastic. I've actually never heard of it, so I'm adding that to my TBR. We will see how that goes, but all in all, Fantasy February was such a hit. This series, like the Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros, I wish I could scream from the rooftops to read this series. It is worth the hype. If you have any theories on it, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I will be listening to the graphic audio before the fourth book comes out. I just hope that Rebecca's lying about it being 2 years. Maybe she'll like treat us with an early Christmas present. I will do anything for it, but whatever. I guess mental health, whatever you're doing, Rebecca. But anyway, thank you for joining my rant. Book club, I appreciate you guys for getting me out of my comfort zone to read these books. And I look forward to seeing what March has in store for us. See you guys next time.